Alexander the Great, king of Macedon, already looked towards India. His army had marched from Greece, conquering Persia and deposing Darius III. Now, only the Indus River stood between Alexander and the kingdom of Porus. It was the summer of 326 BCE. The Macedonian army, a veteran force of Greeks and Macedonians, stood ready. They had heard tales of Indian elephants and fierce warriors. Alexander's ambition knew no bounds. He craved adventure and conquest. India, a land of mystery and untold riches, beckoned him. He dreamed of reaching the Eastern Ocean, the edge of the world. His men, loyal but weary, followed their king. Alexander, a shrewd strategist, understood the importance of logistics and planning. He sent envoys ahead seeking alliances and gathering intelligence. The king of Taxila, fearing Alexander's might, submitted peacefully. This gave Alexander a crucial foothold in India and valuable information about his next opponent, King Porus of Paurava. The stage was set for a clash of titans, a battle that would determine the fate of the Indian subcontinent. The Hydaspes River, a tributary of the mighty Indus, presented a formidable barrier. The river was swollen with monsoon rains, making a direct crossing perilous. Porus, a proud and valiant king, refused to yield. He deployed his forces strategically, taking advantage of the terrain. His army, larger than Alexander's, boasted of fearsome weapon war elephants. Porus knew the terrain offered him an advantage. He could choose the time and place of battle. His war elephants, towering beasts clad in armor, instilled fear in the hearts of men and horses alike. He positioned them strategically, ready to unleash their might upon the invaders. His strategy was clear. Wait for Alexander to make the first move, then strike with overwhelming force. Alexander, a master tactician, studied the river and his enemy. He knew a direct assault would be costly. He needed a plan, a way to outmaneuver his opponent. He ordered his cavalry to feign crossings, keeping Porus's forces occupied. Under the cover of darkness, Alexander found a suitable crossing point, a heavily wooded island upstream. This was a risky gamble, but Alexander thrived on calculated risks. Alexander's army crossed the Hydaspes under the cover of night. Rain and the roar of the river masked their movements. Porus, initially fooled by the diversionary tactics, realized his mistake. He dispatched a force under his son to confront the Macedonians. The first clash was fierce but indecisive. The young prince, eager to prove himself, fought bravely but fell in battle. Alexander, with his companion cavalry, led the charge. The Macedonians, veterans of countless battles, fought with disciplined ferocity. Their sarissas, long pikes, proved deadly against the oncoming Indians. The Indian chariots, hampered by the muddy terrain, failed to break the Macedonian lines. The battle raged, a chaotic dance of steel and fury. The sight of their prince's death fueled the Indian soldiers' fury. They fought with the courage of desperation, determined to avenge their fallen leader. The Macedonian advance faltered. Alexander, ever in the thick of battle, narrowly escaped death. His horse, Bucephalus, a magnificent steed and loyal companion, was killed beneath him. The tide of battle seemed to be turning. Alexander, undeterred, rallied his men. He reorganized his forces, deploying his archers and light infantry to harass the flanks of the Indian army. The Macedonian archers, using composite bows, unleashed a deadly rain of arrows. The Indian ranks, tightly packed, presented easy targets. The Macedonian phalanx, a seemingly impenetrable wall of shields and pikes, advanced steadily, pushing the Indians back. The Indian war elephants, initially held in reserve, were unleashed. These massive beasts, their tusks reinforced with iron spikes, charged into the Macedonian lines. The impact was devastating. Men and horses were tossed aside like rag dolls. Terror gripped the Macedonian ranks. Some units broke and ran, desperate to escape the carnage. Alexander, seeing the danger, ordered his cavalry to target the elephants' handlers. The riders, highly skilled horsemen, used their lances and javelins to deadly effect. The elephants, wounded and riderless, panicked. They turned, trampling their own troops in their mad dash. The tide of battle had turned again, this time decisively in Alexander's favor. The Indian army, its ranks broken by the panicked elephants, began to retreat. Porus, wounded but undaunted, rallied his remaining troops for a final stand. He fought with the courage of a lion, his personal valor inspiring his men. He rode a magnificent war elephant, its armor stained with blood and gore. He seemed invincible, a true warrior king. Alexander, impressed by his enemy's bravery, ordered his men to capture Porus alive. He wanted a bloodless victory, a chance to negotiate with his valiant foe. The Macedonians, their discipline unwavering, surrounded Porus and his remaining troops. They fought with their shields interlocked, slowly constricting the circle around the Indian king. Finally, exhausted and wounded, Porus was captured. He stood before Alexander, his bearing still proud, his spirit unbroken. Alexander, admiring his enemy's courage, treated him with respect. He spared Porus's life and confirmed him as ruler of his kingdom, now a vassal state of the Macedonian Empire. The Battle of the Hydaspes was a watershed moment in Alexander's Indian campaign. It marked the easternmost extent of his conquests. He had defeated a powerful enemy and gained a foothold in a new land. Yet, the victory came at a cost. The Macedonian army, weary from years of campaigning, was shaken by the ferocity of the battle. They had faced a new and terrifying enemy, the war elephants. The battle had a profound impact on the region. It ushered in an era of Hellenistic influence in India as Greek art, architecture, and philosophy began to spread eastward. The political landscape was redrawn, with new alliances forged and old rivalries reignited. The Battle of the Hydaspes stands as a testament to the military genius of both Alexander the Great and King Porus. It was a clash of cultures, a meeting of East and West on the banks of a distant river. It is a story of courage, ambition, and the enduring allure of conquest. The battle may be over, but its legacy lives on, etched in the annals of history.